sharking way around the side. He has to put down, he has to win, he has to get on top of it.
Tournaments. They're the backbone of any competitive gaming community and can lead to some of the most exciting and hype moments we see in video games. Splatoon is no different. Just like every other shooter, we all want to find out who is the best, and there isn't any more of a decisive way to do so than running a tournament. As a community, I would say we are actually very good at hosting tournaments, and even today, at the end of the game's lifespan, there is normally always tournaments on at the weekends, and quite often multiple through the weekdays too. However, even though as a community we are doing very well with tournaments, there are still some features out of our control that I think either deter newcomers from wanting to join the competition or can be frustrating for the more established tournament players. Long story short, this is mostly due to the fact that tournaments in Splatoon 2 have to be done externally, which basically means they arrange through sites like Battlefy, SmashGG, etc, etc. Signing up for one of these tournaments consists of making sure you have an account with the website, logging in, then checking in and making sure you have the opposing team's friend code so that you can begin to play your match. Then, when it's over, you have to report your score on the system, which will then update, either advancing you to the next round and makes you have to go through all the same steps again, or knocking you out of the tournament. Now this isn't awful, but when you consider that the first round sometimes have hundreds or thousands of players, and that you have to wait for every match to be done to start the next round, the current system we have can get a bit stressful for TOs to run. Some players are inevitably going to arrive to their matches late, and it sounds stupid, but from experience I can't tell you how many times the host has accidentally mixed up the teams or picked the wrong map, which forces the whole lobby to leave and restart. My point is, it's almost never going to go smoothly, and with no fault of the TOs, some tournaments can start to feel a bit like a nightmare. Now, I'm sure you've already figured out what I'm suggesting. I think that Splatoon 3 would massively benefit from an in-game tournament system. Like genuinely, I think it would be huge for the game in so many ways. Smash Bros has done it, Mario Kart has done it, there is absolutely no reason why Splatoon can't do it too. I swear if Nagami doesn't put this in the next game, I'm going to become this guy and march to Japan and ask why. Because this is such an obvious feature to put in Splatoon 3. There are so many uses a tournament feature in Splatoon could have, so let's go over them. So one thing that could be done with a tournament feature is automatically generated tournaments. This would work in a similar way to Smash Ultimate's tournament system, where the game just auto-generates them with a pre-made map mode list. The players could simply click on the tournament mode and sign up either alone, in twins, or as a whole team. If you play as a team, the leader could just sign up, and then invite their teammates by clicking on their added friends in a choosing menu, which would then notify the other players through their switches. It sounds complicated, but could be made very streamlined, and it could all be done through the Switch. From there, the system can just make a bracket and away we go. I think this system would definitely work better for a smaller scale tournament, as it'd be quite hard to regulate and seed without humans running the big tournaments. But if any players just wanted to hop into a quick tournament, or just practice strategies with their friends, this would be an amazing way to do so. Maybe as a player you could even get a rating after you play enough of these, and then the Switch could take it into account for future seeding and so on. There are genuinely so many possibilities, and mainly this would pull so many new players who have never signed up for a tournament externally before, or maybe even knew they existed. Because when something like this is directly inside the game, it becomes nearly infinitely more accessible to the more casual player. Now, obviously this would work for small scale stuff, but what about the big stuff? Well, I think there's still ways you could implement systems into a tournament mode to make big tournaments work too. The small scale automatic things could be announced maybe 30 minutes before the tournament starts, which would work fine for this feature. But bigger events are announced weeks or even sometimes months before they start. To add, with bigger tournaments, it's always way better to have actual humans moderating them to make sure no nonsense happens and that the seeding is actually correct. As cool as skill ratings would be, they still wouldn't be as good as humans seeding well-known players. So, with all these differences, how could a tournament mode actually work for bigger tournaments? Well, what if there was a way to link those pre-mentioned tournament websites with the Switch? All you would have to do is allow for players to create their own tournaments and then click a button to add it to the Switch's tournament mode. TOs could name their tournaments, and if the tournament had a logo, as some do, this information could be transferred to the Switch too. Players could then find these by browsing a scheduled events menu in the game, and then sign up as a team in the same way as before. I would imagine creating a bracket using a Switch controller would not be fun at all, so the TO could make the bracket on the PC, which then transfers to the Switch, and then there you go, we have a fully functional, large-scale tournament in action. Obviously that explanation is quite vague, and there'd probably still be a few complications, but I think as at least a starting concept, this makes so much sense to do. I'm not saying that tournament websites are useless either. I just think that if they were combined with features in the actual game, they would make tournament organisers' jobs much easier and also make everything much more streamlined. Because people can still disconnect and stuff, I still think it's worth allowing TOs to have control over the results in large scale tournaments, as the Switch wouldn't be able to identify any match discrepancies, but that could be fixed just by allowing a TO to click something as simple as a confirm button when the Switch posts the match results or something like that. It wouldn't be that hard. As well as playing, it would be a great way to spectate matches as well, as you could look at the tournament sets with a click of a button and see what gear your favourite player is using or what strategies they're getting up to. All in all, it would do wonders for the comp scene. Do I think this is actually going to happen? Hell no. There is a small possibility I could see the first bit happening, where there is a mode that works similarly to Smash Ultimate's tourney system that runs small scale stuff, but I see absolutely no way the second part being added. Unfortunately, Nintendo always seems to fall a bit short when it comes to online options for stuff, and I also don't think they'd want to associate themselves with third-party websites by linking the Switch to tournament making sites. But hey, a man can dream, right? If we even get the first option, or just some completely crap version of it that just about does the job, I'll take it. With Nintendo, you've unfortunately got to take any progress you can, no matter how small. Thanks for watching everyone. I hope you enjoyed this little idea, and I want to know what you think of this potential feature. You can leave a comment below. Anyway, I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.